Hey, what is going on, Fan Clan? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Danny Phantump. Happy Thursday. I hope you guys are all doing well. I am very excited about today's video. Today we're going to talk about basically as close to limited Pokemon cards that exist. I got asked in the chat yesterday of our live stream what I thought about the idea of Pokemon doing like a numbering system on cards. So like a lot of sports cards nowadays, a lot of those ultra rare sports cards that you can pull will be like a 1 of 1 or a 1 of 3 or something like that, where there's a numbering on them so you know exactly how many can exist. And ultimately, I don't think that that is something that would really tickle my fancy. You'll have to let me know in the comments section down below what you think. If you think it would be a cool idea if Pokemon did something like a numbering system. I personally am not a big fan of it. I think it encourages a lot of different people to enter the hobby. So for the most part, I think that it would be pretty cool if Pokemon just continue doing what they're doing when it comes to some of these limited availability cards. We're going to talk about those in just a second, but make sure you come back tomorrow. I've got a really good video tomorrow. Actually, one of the videos that I am probably most excited that I've ever recorded is going to come out tomorrow. And also, we're going to be doing our 94,000 subscriber giveaway tomorrow. So if you want to enter to win a Burning Shadows box, come back tomorrow. Then as soon as we get to 95,000, we'll do evolutions, and we'll keep going and going until we get to that 100K, and then have like the biggest giveaway ever on YouTube when it comes to Pokemon cards. So if you like the content, hit that subscribe button down below, leave a like, leave a comment. It goes a really long way for the algorithm, but most importantly, if you could share the channel, that would be absolutely fantastic. P-H-A-N-tastic. With that being said, I'm done rambling. Let's get into it. So we're going to talk about some pre-release promos today, some trophy cards. If you guys don't know what trophy cards are, after we get through some of these pre-release promos, trophy cards are basically what you get from attending competitive events. These have absolutely ballooned in price over the past couple of years, really related to the pandemic, but this is as close as Pokemon gets to limited availability, because there are only so many cards that are going to be in existence, only so many printings, only so many copies of a specific card. So we're starting off looking at the specific Kirlia here. So this is from Silver Tempest. I'm not going to spoil anything from tomorrow's video, but this card is involved in tomorrow's video in some facet as well, but we're looking at just the last 3 months, because Silver Tempest really hasn't been out that long, just over 3 months. But look at what it's done, and a lot of the reasoning behind this card doing so well in the market right now is because of the competitive field, because what is expected of the next format with Gardevoir EX coming out at the end of Scarlet and Violet. We know that Gardevoir EX is expected to be somewhat competitive. Well, in order to evolve into a Gardevoir, what do you need? You need a Ralts, and you need a Kirlia, and people like playing those ultra rare, the rarest of the rare, high rarity decks. Kirlia, the staff promo in specific, that's going to be the highest rarity you can find of this specific card. So look at what it's done over the past 3 months. 3 months ago in December, it was at $14.63. That's a 3-month low. Right now, it's at $39.22. So just over the past 3 months, it has almost tripled in price. Now, it will triple in price very soon, because the lowest listed right now on TCG Player is closer to that $50 mark. So it's going to go up over 200%, which is absolutely insane over 3 months, just over the course of 3 months. The regular promo card is also ballooning in price quite a bit, just not as significant as the staff promo. The pre-release cards are pretty easy to find because you just get them in those build and battle kits, which you can find just about anywhere. You can find them at your local game store. You can find them at different Targets and Walmarts and places like that, GameStop. They typically come out a couple weeks after release of a set, unless you go to a pre-release, which happens typically 2 or 1 week before the release of a new set. So Silver Tempest would have happened a week before or 2 weeks before. You would have gotten a build and battle kit featuring maybe this Kirlia, maybe Archeops, but that plus an additional set amount of cards, 4 booster packs. You would build a pre-release deck that you would then compete in a tournament, a small tournament. It's kind of like a first look of a new set, but helps you get access to some of these cards a little bit early. Now, these aren't specifically trophy cards. These are pre-release promos, but we are going to go over some trophy cards down the road later on in the presentation, which are also super cool. Dark Gyarados. So this is an old pre-release card. You can't even really see the pre-release stamp on here. This came out during the Team Rocket era. I can't even remember off the top of my head when this was distributed. I think maybe it was at Toys R Us, when leagues happened at Toys R Us way back in the day. But Dark Gyarados right here, the pre-release stamp. You can see over the past year how it's performed in the market. Not a whole lot of movement, but still definitely trending in the upward direction. These were very available for a very long time. If you remember correctly, Pokemon up until that Team Rocket era, that was really when Pokemon took off. It was blasting off like Team Rocket style. It was absolutely nuts how crazy popular Pokemon was, all the way up until basically the Neo era where things started backing off a little bit. So a lot of Dark Gyaradoses really got printed, especially as Pokemon tried to gear up and ramp up their competitive play infrastructure. But you can see in March of 2022, about a year ago, it started declining a little bit, then hit a one-year low in May of $8.24. It's gained about 25% since then. So over the past year, it's performed very, very well. Methodically, slow, organic growth, which is really, really cool, what we like to see. Sitting at a one-year high right now of $11.90 and definitely trending in the upward direction. Another Gyarados that we're going to look at has been absolutely nutty. The staff version of this card is way more expensive. The staff version's obviously a little bit more difficult to get. If you're looking for staff cards, a lot of times you can find them in a sealed pack of 4. If you talk to your league organizer or somebody maybe at the store you go to for pre-releases, they hand out sealed staff packs to people who judge or work at the event. So there's a lot more rarity that's involved in these staff promos. Definitely a lot more, or a lot less, that exist. A lot more regular pre-release promos that exist instead of the staff variants of them. But very, very difficult to find. They actually stopped producing staff promos for about a year, 2 years maybe, up until Silver Tempest, when they finally made a return. So we had staff promos all the way up through Vivid Voltage, and then there was a couple random ones that appeared out of nowhere, like a Cinderace staff, which wasn't supposed to exist, but ended up getting printed. But regardless, they did bring staff promos back. Gyarados, this is the one from Ancient Origins. Very, very cool looking card. This was also a very good deck card. This Gyarados teamed up with Magikarp, caused a lot of havoc in the competitive field. You can see what it did over the past year, March, April, May. Very consistent, right around that $45, $46 mark, and then kind of skyrocketed after that up until October, where it leveled off again. Hit $66.85 as a one-year high. It's sitting at $63.56 currently, but definitely way higher than what it was last year, right around this point. The Lucario pre-release, this is a very, very cool card. We're going to look at the staff promo as well of this one, but you can see a one-year low hit in March of 2022. That was at $6.68. Very consistent. Saw a little bit of a blip in August of 2022 where it jumped up to about $15, came back down to earth, and then in January of 2023 just started taking off. One of the great things about Pokemon is the different niches that you can get involved in. So maybe you're kind of sick of collecting master sets, you want to take a break from Modern, and you want to start looking at some of these promo cards that exist. And there are so many different promo cards that are in existence, whether it be a foreign language promo card, maybe Japanese promos, maybe you want to find some pre-release promos or some trophy cards. Very, very cool additions to kind of grow your collection. A lot of them are fairly cheap. We're looking at some of them that have really ballooned in price over the past year, but a lot of them have gone the opposite direction and are trending downward. So it might not be a bad time to start looking at those to kind of fill out your collection. 2805 is where it's currently sitting. That's a one-year high for that Lucario. This Electivire is so hype. Look at how cool this thing is with the HS Triumphant stamp down there. You can see in March of 2022, it was at a one-year low of $9.88. Started taking off right away. In May, it hit about $19. Then in August, it hit a one-year high of $20.43 before coming back down and dipping just below $16. Then came back up again, and now it's sitting right around $15.76. But still, that's up, what, 60% from where it was at this point last year. So definitely trending in the upward direction. Plus the artwork on it is absolute fire. This one looks really, really cool. Then we've got the staff Charizard promo. Like I said, this was from Vivid Voltage. So this was a very, very cool pre-release pack that you got if you bought a sealed staff pack. Charizard, Lugia, Snorlax, Donphan. Very cool Pokemon. Very cool artworks, obviously. The Charizard staff card. This was in high demand. Really kind of came down for quite some time as Vivid Voltage started appearing more and more. Pokemon did a great job kind of printing that set to demand after what happened during its original release. But you can see in March of 2022, this card was selling for $559.39. That was a one-year low. Started climbing a little bit through May, then leveled off up until August, then kind of shot up in September, came back down in October, and now look what it's done over the last month. It's basically went from $600 to $681, so you're looking at about 20% growth over the past year, doing extremely well, sitting at $681.33 currently. And then we've got the Staff Arcanine from Next Destinies. Absolute fire card. I love the look of this card. The graph's a little messed up, but you can see it's done extremely well over the past year. You're looking at about 25% of growth. In March of 2022, it was sitting at $94.99, stayed very, very level for about 4 months up until July, where it started to trickle upwards a little bit. September, it trickled upwards more. October, November, December, January, every month it just goes up a little bit more and a little bit more. Now it's sitting at a one-year high of $122.50, definitely trending in that upward direction. Here's that Staff Lucario Lucario that we were talking about before. In March of 2022, it was at $36.74. This card has almost tripled in price over the past year. Some of these cards are a little bit more difficult to find in near mint condition, which is why some of the prices are really starting to take off, because a lot of people at that time didn't necessarily collect as much as they do or as carefully as they do now, where cards weren't necessarily stored and graded as much as they are now. So a lot of times they were kind of just shoved in a binder. Maybe they were put in just a 5-row or something like that, and they got dinged up, different condition issues through a lot of these cards. That's why a lot of those base set cards, a lot of those old Wizards of the Coast cards have taken off in price for near mint condition, because we just really didn't know what to do as far as storing and protecting goes, and what Pokemon would become like what it is now. March of 2022, this one was selling for $36.74. It stayed right at that point up until April, where it kind of ballooned up into that $90 price point, but then came back down to about $70. Now it's sitting at $99.93, so that's a 1-year high for the staff promo of Lucario. This is the staff version of Moltres from Fates Collide. Very cool. They did pre-releases a little bit different back then, so you got a pre-release kit instead of a build and battle box, and when a pre-release kit would ship to the store owner, they would include one staff promo with the pre-release kit. So if you got a Moltres, you got a Moltres, but it would come with basically a booster box of Fates Collide, and then 10 pre-release kits that you would be able to distribute to people who are playing in pre-release tournaments, and then you would have a staff card in that pre-release kit. So Pokemon has changed so many different things throughout the years, definitely making improvements in the right direction. In March of 2022, this one was selling for $44.12. Saw some slow growth all the way up until October, and then really took off as supply kind of got bought out. Not necessarily bought out because people wanted to force this card upward, just bought out because there wasn't a whole lot of availability. And then in October of 2022, it jumped up over 100%. $89.95 is where it's currently sitting. That's a 1-year high for that staff Moltres. This is the staff Altaria from Dragons Exalted. This is kind of like an OG with the skyline behind it. Look at the awesome buildings behind this Altaria, the lightning coming down. Very, very cool. In March of 2022, this card was sitting at $7.20. That just goes to show you how popular some of these staff cards have become. In May of 2022, it jumped up to about $15, stayed really, really level all the way until January, and then you see more sales happening at $52.16. So that's a 1-year high for that Altaria. This is the staff Decidueye from Darkness Ablaze. It was right after Vivid Voltage, I believe, that they stopped staff cards. So Decidueye definitely near the tail end of that. You can see in March, April, kind of level around that $28 mark. You can see it hit a 1-year low at $28.48 before trickling upward and seeing very slow, steady growth throughout the majority of 2022 up until 2023, where it started taking off a little bit more. Sitting at $41.80 currently. That's a 1-year high for that Decidueye. Now we're moving into some trophy cards or some other promo cards. This is the Play Pokemon Call of Legends energy card. So this is originally from the Heart Gold Soul Silver era. These have absolutely destroyed pricing over the past couple months as people really want to kind of max rarity out their decks, and they lean towards these energies instead of the secret rare energies, because there's so many printings of secret rare energies. So this is kind of a copy of the Heart Gold Soul Silver energy. If you go back and look at those energies, they're absolute fire. This one is the Darkness energy. It's got the Umbreon looking over the skyline in the background there. This is just an energy card. So these were given out during Heart Gold Soul Silver in booster packs, just as commons and uncommons. It got very destroyed, so a lot harder to find good copies of these cards, and that's really the only era when these energies were printed into existence. So very, very expensive for just common energy cards during Heart Gold and Soul Silver, but these were Play Pokemon packs of energy cards that Pokemon would then distribute at league events. These are hollow stitch pattern, hollow energy cards from Heart Gold Soul Silver. So this is the Call of Legends era right here. You can see very consistent pretty much throughout the entirety of 2022. We're sitting at $37.43 as a 1-year low up until October, November, where it really just exploded in price. You can see all the way up to $50.26. So that's a 1-year high for this card right here. But a lot of the other energies, like the Fighting Energy, has Sudowoodo in the background. A lot of different types of energies. All the hollow stitch patterns have really, really ballooned in price over the past few months. This is Judge. We're going to talk about this card tomorrow as well. Judge has done extremely well over the past couple months just because Marnie is rotating out. People need draw support, and this is really what is going to come into existence. Judge being reprinted in Fusion Strike definitely helps out with the next format. You can see it being very consistent March, April, May, all the way up until September, where it really started taking off again. So this is just a Play promo card with the stitch pattern hollow right here. You can see in October it jumped up to about $19-20. sitting at $21.47. That's a one-year high. Currently much higher than where it was in August when it was at a one-year low of $10.47, basically doubling in price. Chorus, a big card in the GLC, in the Gym Leader format. Very, very cool looking card. This is a really strong deck card and has been for a very long time. However, with it only being expanded and no expanded tournaments really happening, I get really excited talking about competitive Pokemon. I hope that's okay with you guys. March, April, May, very consistent, right around that $10 mark, and then really started taking off. That's really when hype for GLC kind of started really showing its head in the format. And you can see in May it really started jumping up to $16-ish right there. It jumped up to a one-year high of $16.45 in January of 2023. It's trickled back down a little bit, but still sitting at $15.64. It's got that play promo stamp on the side there. Very, very similar to what we have now with the prize packs, which are supposed to be distributed to people who play in league events, not sold by league owners. So that is just a whole nother topic for a different day. And then we've got this Eevee. There was different regional championships, different city championships. This is a city championship right here. Back when Pokemon used to have cities, now they have league cups. Well, they don't have league cups yet. They should be starting at some point, hopefully after the release of Scarlet and Violet. But this is from city tournaments. In March of 2022, this was selling at a one-year low of $10.49. During the Black and White era, the Dark Explorers era, there was a lot of different regional tournaments and things like that that had different versions of the evolutions as stamp promos. So Glaceon, Umbreon, very, very cool if you collect the entire set. Looks really good with the stitch pattern hollow in the background. Definitely recommend if you're looking for a cool collection piece. That's really, really cool. But in March of 2022, it was sitting at $10.49. You can see really skyrocketed in May there, jumping up to about $14, $15, and then started slowly gaining even more ground up to that one-year high of $15.99 that it hit in October of 2022. Came back a little bit, but now it's starting to trend upwards again, sitting at $15.82 currently. The last one that we're going to look at is more of a modern card. This is Welder. This is a stamp promo from the regional championship. So this happened in Unbroken Bonds era. This was right before kind of the pandemic hit, right? This was kind of right before the pandemic hit. So we finished out that season, then started the next season, played a few months, and then the pandemic hit and everything kind of backed off with the beginning of Sword and Shield Rebel Clash. But you can see Welder here. I remember getting this copy at a Madison regional event 5-6 years ago. $5.93 is where it was sitting in August of 2022. So you can see trending downward, but then really started turning things around. It's over doubled in price. It's sitting at $12.24 currently. That's just off of its one-year high of $12.34. Definitely trending in the upward direction. They still hand out regional promos, regional stamp cards, things like that. So you can go to a regional event. You can see me at a regional event. We're going to be doing one in Fort Wayne, Indiana at the end of the month. I hope to see you there. Definitely check it out. You can come to play. You can come just to do side events. You can come just as a spectator. You can shop around at the vending booths, hang out, meet some really good people, really cool people. Get some of these cards. Like they're really, really cool. Definitely recommend looking at them. It's just very unique to have that extra stamp. They did Boss's Orders. They've done Lily. Those are the more recent ones. Chorus, I think they did recently. Very, very cool products that are kind of the closest Pokemon gets to those limited releases, to those numbering systems, which I don't necessarily think is a good idea, but I'm anxious to know what you guys think. So leave a comment down below letting me know what you think when it comes to numbering cards and doing things like that as we move forward, maybe in a future upcoming generation or maybe a specialty set, something like that. I'm very, very curious to see what you guys think. So I hope you guys like the content. If you do, hit that subscribe button down below, leave a like, leave a comment. Like I said, it goes a long way for the algorithm. Most importantly, thank you so much just for watching, just for listening to me talk about Pokemon. You guys are an amazing escape, and I really appreciate you. So I will talk to you tomorrow. Until then, guys, peace.